I came across a listicle. It's a list. It's an article. It's a listicle from CBR.com. 10 things that make no sense about Camp Crystal Lake.
I was going to read it, and you said, hey, I never read these ahead of time because it's more fun. And I said, that's a good idea. I'm not going to read this.
And let's see 10 things that just don't make sense over there at Camp Crystal Lake. Number 10, the location of the camp keeps changing.
What? Does it?
I think they're just talking about the physical filming locations kind of look different here and there because they're shooting in different actual locations. Jersey here, Georgia there,
You want to maybe tell me what website are we talking about? Hey, do you remember movies.org?
I said this is from CBR.
Oh, comic book resources or something? What is that?
Comic book research. Yep, that's it.
Nobody knows what the R is in CBR.
I have no joke for that.
But we know the CB is comic books. Yeah, you had a joke for it, but you thought better of it. You know what year it is.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm glad social media wasn't a thing.
Man.
That's for sure.
So CB, the location of Camp Crystal Lake.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. If you're a simpleton and you're watching these movies and you're seeing it, look differently. They shot it in different places. It's supposed to still be Camp Crystal Lake. It's still supposed to be in Jersey. Yeah, you're fine. Everything's fine.
If they mean that it looks weird because the physical location is different, that's one thing. But if they're saying they don't like how not all of them are at the camp and the locations in the story change, I mean, that's just story. I mean, how do you justify?
Number 10, there's just got to pad these stats here. Let's see.
I guess
9 is. It might not be much better. Why do people keep coming back? Makes no sense. They do all right with that.
I think they do. I think they do all right with it.
Like, there's a lot of bases they do not cover in these movies, which I wish they would. This is one they usually mention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was too good of a real estate deal, and or whatever the fuck. I don't think that was ever one of them.
No, but you're onto something. Too good to pass up. That's usually a Halloween one, like the Myers house. Like, you moved us into the Myers house? Yeah, I moved us and you and that
Big John.
little bastard here.
Little bastard.
You and that little bastard of yours.
Yeah, I think what people, when you're writing for CBR.com and you're just trying to get an article out, you probably overlook that part 1 is at the camp. Part 2 is 5 years later at a different camp on that lake. And then parts 3 and 4 are just at people's like cottages on the lake, not at the camp.
Number 8. Why have there not been any preventative measures?
I don't know. That's the headline. It reads just like that. I don't know. That's kind of weak.
It seems rather absurd that in film after film, the local law enforcement seems not only inept at stopping visitors from running afoul of the Voorhees menace, but outright belligerent in their handling of the situation.
So they mean part 6.
I guess.
Is basically it.
I guess so this writer just wants it fucking sectioned off, barbed wire. No.
But to me, that sounds like you're trying to squeeze 2 out of 1 because you're basically saying the same thing you're saying as why do people keep coming back? Because the preventative measure would be nobody gets to come back.
What are you going to have? 6 reasons that it makes no sense to care? Come on. Number 7.
Big reasons.
And then some other ones, some stoner thoughts. Number 7, things that make no sense at Camp Crystal Lake. What happens to all the final girls?
I'll give them credit on this one. We know what happens to the first final girl. Alice.
She gets finaled.
She gets finaled in part 2.
Oh, yeah.
But very good point. Ginny lives in part 2. Don't see her in part 3. Part 3 person who's not Ginny lives. Don't see her. We see what happens to Tommy, but we don't see Tommy's sister again. So she would be the final girl of 4. We don't see her ever again.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'll give them that.
Yeah, basically all of the other ones. Where are they in the next one? And nowhere.
I think a lot of these are going to tie into the fact that this place is incredibly unsafe. And to quote the journalist here, it seems odd that the world will continue to ignore their warnings. So yeah, that would make sense that they would survive and tell the story. And then he had a mask and he killed all my friends. Da, 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 da. Yeah, we never really get to see that.
Yeah.
Never really get to see that. Fair enough.
And in part one, though, like coming out of part one, there is no dispute that what happened. You know, they find all the bodies and Alice whacked Pamela's head off and they found all that. So, but yeah, after 2, there's another pile of bodies. And after 3 and 4, there's piles and piles of bodies. And then what do they do in 6? We're going to reopen.
Yeah.
Camp Forest Green. Don't call it Crystal Lake, God damn it.
How about Camp Blood? No. It's even worse.
Yeah, that's even worse. Tom, come on. Who let him in here?
This? Number 6, and it still ties into the big theme here. Who keeps trying to reopen this place? Doesn't make sense at Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah. Well,
Just the one time, really.
Yeah, sometimes it's just people living there.
That's most of the movies. They try and reopen in 1. They try and reopen in 2. Different camp, same lake, 5 years later. And then they try and reopen in 6. All right, so out of a 9, if we don't count the reboot, let's count Jason X. It counts. Freddy versus Jason, we won't count. So out of those 10, reopening a camp only happens in 3 of them. And in part 1, it's the first time.
Come on, stop giving them a hard time, Jim.
Why?
Are you expecting them to watch the movies they're doing their article on? It goes back to that, like, who's trying to reopen this place. I like my real estate. I like my real estate angle. It's got to do. It's like Jaws meets Friday the 13th.
Dale's mortgage guy is trying to sell you a campground.
Yeah. But just that sentence that you said, same lake, different camp. When you said that, my brain sparked up, and I pictured a map with the lake, and then different checkpoints on that map around it, like here's camp this, here's camp that, Wakachabi and all that shit. And I'm like, oh man, if I ever do my Friday the 13th, that's Jaws meets Friday the 13th, I'd love a greatest hits. I'd want to revisit all of those past camps trying to solve this mystery of Jason Voorhees. Number 5. How did the Jarvis family survive for so long, Jim?
Not bad. That's not a bad one. Because they presumably had that cabin for a while. But we don't really know how long they lived at the cabin. Like maybe dad just died and they said, you know what, for this summer, we'll just stay at the cabin all summer.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't live, maybe that's not their permanent home and they were just spending a lot of extra time there that summer.
Maybe that's not his permanent home.
Where's he go?
We don't know. I know. It's so exciting.
But again, that's one night. It was like 2, 3, 4. That's a weekend.
Yeah.
And people forget that.
Number 4. You got to give them this one. This is a gimme.
Good.
How does Crystal Lake connect to the ocean?
Oh yeah, I've said that myself. Yeah, you got it. You got that one. I got no disputes on. That's a number 1. I hope when you started this article,
that was one of them.
That was like the first one you thought of. Because people have been saying that for years. This is supposed to be a lake in the forest, and somehow he gets that little fishing boat out
channel.
Yeah, there's always a channel out to the sea at all these camps. What the hell? There's not even a river. We don't even see a babbling brook, really. And somehow there's a channel that we just didn't know about on Crystal Lake. It's in the northeast corner. And see, Camp Crystal Lake is further south. Makes no sense.
So if that's number 4, let's see what the top 3 are going to be here.
Maybe they keep getting better.
I hope so. Number 3. This just doesn't make sense about Camp Crystal Lake. How can toxic waste de-age someone?
I know what they're referencing. Of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this was about Camp Crystal Lake. What the fuck does that have to do with Camp Crystal Lake at all? They were in the sewer in Manhattan in the toxic waste. Part 8 is a shit show. But clearly they're going for some other worldly, fantastical, phantasmy stuff in that. When she sees the vision, when the main character, I don't remember her name, that's why I used a pronoun. She sees baby, little kid Jason, and no one else does, and then the toxic waste melts him down, and we don't know for sure if the leading guy also sees little baby Jason guy.
Yeah.
But clearly they're going for some weird shit.
Yeah. And like you said, that's not even Camp Crystal Lake. No. Disqualified.
Can I get, how does toxic waste de-age someone?
Oh. Number 2. Things that just make no sense at Camp Crystal Lake. How did Jason survive for so long?
That's number 2.
What the fuck? Because it's a movie. That's the whole premise. He's a mysterious monster man.
That's
zombie guy.
That's number 2. It has nothing to do with the lake either. Not the lake itself, but the lake and surrounding areas. I mean,
unless she wants it to be, unless the author wants it to be part of Camp Crystal Lake's lore, giving him the power to survive.
Feel the power of the lake. It's the woods. There's a lake. There are animals. You can hunt. You can fish. It seems to be a pretty fertile area. He has a cabin, and maybe he's got a caretaker and a handler.
I'm going to read this whole paragraph here because I don't like it. A question that is posed not just once during the franchise, but multiple times. In the first film, it is said that Jason drowned at the age of 11 in 1957. The movie's prologue is set in 1978, and the contemporary events are set in 1979. This would make Jason at least 33 years old during the proceeds of the first 4 entries. How then could an 11-year-old child survive alone in the woods? Not just for 1 year, but for 22. Sure, audiences see his little shack in part 2, but who taught him how to survive, to hunt for food, how to drive, or even how to build such a structure? Jason may become an invincible zombie-like tornado of destruction in later entries, but for the first 4, he was still merely human.
See episode 1 of Slasherville, and we've got this all laid out for you. There are so many possibilities that I froth at the mouth thinking about writing them down. You know what? Who is it from CBR? Who wrote it?
J.A. Adonde.
J.A. Adonde. I need you to go to Slasherville, go to anchor.fm/Slasherville pod, find episode 1, Friday the 13th. Everything is answered for you. There are so many possibilities.
Oh, he's plugging. He's always plugging. We did, though. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's literally the first episode. All right. So here it is. Number 1. Friday the 13th, things that make no sense about Camp Crystal Lake. Where was Jason during the first film?
Why did you say it like that?
Because she's frustrated. It doesn't make sense.
You know what? I agree. And it's something fans of the series have often talked about this, but that's number 1. Okay. And that just adds to the spice, doesn't it?
The spice.
He's in his cabin. He's at his house, maybe with Pamela, or she leaves him locked up in the basement while she goes to murder counselors.
They've said this in follow-up films. They were like, he watched his mother get beheaded, so that's where he was there the whole time. Woods, shack, whatever.
Yes,
but you could say 22-year-old Jason or whatever was there. He was there. I think I'm trying to remember which Friday it was.
In part 2, in the beginning, when all the counselors are around the fire, and the main counselor, the blondie guy, he is telling the story of Jason, and he is the one who says it was that night he saw his mother beheaded.
Plus, I love the visual of a confused, monster man in the woods watching that. We never really get that angle. We never get that, Halloween Kills alternate timeline angle over the shoulder shot of him watching Pamela fight Alice in that fight. You know, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe there's, you know, moments in that where he's stepping up to like, I'm going to intervene, but he doesn't. You know, maybe that's why he's so mad after this, why he's got all this rage. I stood there and did nothing. Like a coward, I will not be a coward anymore.
It could be that. The whole interpretation of part 1 changes once you've seen part 2. And there is a reading of part 1 you could take where some of the kills where you see no part of the killer off screen, that could be Jason. He could be doing half the work or something. We don't know.
So that is CBR.com's Friday the 13th, 10 Things That Make No Sense About Camp Crystal Lake by R.A. Daunton. Decent little.
That's not the name you told me 4 minutes ago. By R.A. Daunton, you just gave me a complete. You said like J. Adonde or something. What are you doing? You're killing me, Dale. You're trying to make me look soft. You're not putting my stuff over.
Yeah, I would just suggest watch the movies if you're going to do a list. That would be my suggestion, because half of that's answered, and I'm not taking hard shots here, but you'd have a much better, more interesting list. Watch those movies, because there's a lot of goofier shit that make you scratch your head. So, but I get it. You know, you got to get the clicks. You got to get your money. So I'm not mad at you. Plus, it's a fucking horror article next to a million Marvel articles. So I'm not mad at you.
No, we're not even busting balls, I don't think, to use the term. We're just having fun with it, and we go harder into this than most people do. So it's fun to hear an article like this.
Yeah, and you can tell like there are a couple steps removed. You know, like we're lunatics, we're horror fools. They're a couple steps removed. They like their scary movies. Halloween, you know, October rolls around, they're going to watch their flicks, but you can tell they're a couple steps removed. And I like that perspective. So I like this article, and I came across another one that we will never do, but yeah, this one.
What's this one then?
It's a tease. So if one of us is sick, we'll just do this article.
Okay.
This one's from looper.com.
Oh boy.
And it's every Friday the 13th movie ending explained.
Yeah. I don't think a lot.
This?
Yeah. We got it with Halloween Kills too. The Halloween Kills ending explained. I thought it was pretty cut and dried.
And then I came across another list. There's so many lists. We're not going to do them. We're not going to do them.
Today.
Top 15 slasher villains ranked by likability.
What does that even mean? Well, Chucky's got to be close to the top.
I said we're not doing it.
I know, but when we do, because we will, bookmark that one.
Chucky's in the top 5. He's in the top 5.
He's got to be. He's got to be.